Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Rebelwatch. I'm your host, Campbell Holmes. We have a special guest with us once again, Jake SARACHEK, also known as Yank in the SIP. Thank you so much for being with us, Jake. And of course, we have sports reporter TAYE and news anchor Walker Farmer. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We have the most amazing show today. You know why, we knew why. Ole Miss beat Georgia last Saturday. Finally, we have that off our backs. The whole show is going to be about this game because of how amazing it was. So, for the first couple minutes, we're going to talk about the first half because I'm not going to lie, the first few plays in the game had me a little scared for us, but we ended up going through. Obviously, the first play happened and we didn't see much improvement. Walker, how were you feeling whenever we started off and it looked as if we might not have the best game ever?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I was very worried at the beginning of the game. It was just like, typical Ole Miss, can't win the big game. They talked about Lane Kiffin doesn't have that signature win. But then the momentum just really flipped. Our second drive, after Georgia scored that first touchdown, it wasn't looking good. Austin Simmons came in when Jackson Dart was a little injured and had an amazing drive, maybe cementing himself or at least know he's going to be in the competition next year for starting quarterback. Went down, was 5 for 6, threw for 64 yards, and then we got that Ulysses Bentley touchdown to tie it up. And then mainly from that point on, the game was all about defense. Really proud of our defense this game. Defensive line was incredible. And then also shout out Caden Davis, gave us 3 field goals.
I mean, I feel bad because I have been dogging on this guy this entire year. And finally, he won me over with those, so I was glad. And speaking of Austin Simmons, Jake, whenever you saw Jackson Dart gets hurt, and he's going off the field, Austin Simmons comes in. Were you positive about it? Were you thinking he was going to help us right before those first few plays? How were you feeling?
Dart's been the leader of this team for the last few years and is one of the best, if not, I would honestly say he's the best quarterback in college football. Not one of the best, the best. So when the best quarterback in college football leaves the field, you're always going to be a little bit nervous, but everybody's been raving about Austin Simmons. Lane's a QB whisperer. You knew he had the talent. You had to feel good about it, and he came out there and he showed why everybody's so excited about him.
No, I totally agree, and I watched the episode of the season that came out last night, and just hearing, Dart talk about him and talking about how, Kiffin told him, Austin's going to be here. He's here for a reason. He's not here to replace you. He's here for help. And it just showed the most perfect example of why he is here and how he essentially started that game off on a good note so we could keep on running. Yep. And Tay, how else were you feeling about the game?
Yeah, I felt great about it. That's very tough to come in as a freshman against a Georgia defense with momentum on their back coming from a big play like that. But it was amazing to see him drive down the field. I don't think if he does that, we necessarily don't have the momentum we need to continue to fight and to continue to battle throughout the half. I mean, the throws that he was making weren't just these easy, drop it through the dot, easy throws. He was making tough throws on third down situations where we needed the first down. So it was amazing for that. I definitely think it was a pivotal moment, especially of this first half and looking back on it the entire game. But he definitely stepped up, and I think that's going to be something to watch going into the next season.
I completely agree. And along with that, I know that defense was a big aspect in the second half, but we also did see it in the first half. Jared Ivey, 7 tackles in the game. In my opinion, he was player of the game for me. The defense really stuck out to me because essentially Carson Beck looked scared of us. He seemed kind of intimidated. Did you like the defense, Walker?
Oh, yeah, I was very pleased with the defense, and just because it also put us in great spots, kept giving us the ball back. And I want to shout out Lane Kiffin because he really played smart this game. The offense played well enough to get into the opponent's territory almost every drive at the end of that first half. And then Caden Davis came up big, was able to make those field goals, and put us in a great spot going into the second half, leading 16-7.
I completely agree. We're going to take a short break, but don't worry, we're still going to continue to talk about the most amazing game ever, Ole Miss, Georgia. We'll be back. Stay here.
It's that time of the year again, fellas. When the mornings are hot, the afternoons are hotter, and football is on its way back. Now, games is won by the battles fought in August. Everyone that's not revered as an Ole Miss legend has been in your shoes before, trying to survive that Mississippi heat, competing for a spot, and knowing the sacrifice that it takes to make it in this league. going to this money collection of men from 100 different places. And if you work, you'll emerge from it as one team with one goal and one heartbeat. The SEC awaits you. And if they don't know who you are now, they will soon.
Where are we gonna go?
Someplace warm. A place where the beer flows like wine. Where beautiful women instinctively flock like the salmon of Capistrano. I'm talking about a little place called
Oxford, Mississippi.
To see it is to believe it. You hear about it, but you just have to see the party.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Grove. The sound and fury are here. Did he get a toe down?
Pageantry, the pride, the pomp is unmatched and unrivaled.
This stadium has come unhinged.
This is what college football is all about.
Oh, he gets walloped.
No coach is having more fun.
This is the place to be in college football right now.
Welcome back to Rebel Watch. We now have sports reporter Sawyer Ravino with us. Thank you for joining us, Sawyer. As always, we're going to continue to talk about, again, the most amazing game ever. Second half, we obviously saw some amazing defensive plays to seal the deal. Great plays. Walker, can you tell us a bit about them?
Yeah, the defense was absolutely incredible. You know, they allowed Georgia to get that field goal at the beginning of the second half, making it 16-10. But then after that, they just played outstanding. It really started because we started to get turnovers in that second half. I know Xavier Harris had a big strip fumble, and we were able to recover after Georgia was getting awfully close to scoring after that Juice Well touchdown pass from Jackson Dart to make it a 12-point game at the end. And then after that, it was really just turnovers and field goals for us to close it. I know after that, John Saunders had a big pick on 4th down, able to get a field goal off that. And then really what closed the game out at the end with about 3 minutes left, Princely, Monmielen, you know, those transfers we talked so much about at the beginning of the year, going to give us the opportunity to win games like this. Had a big sack, recovered by Suntarine Perkins, and then kicked another field goal, made a 3-score game, and there was really nothing Georgia could do after that.
Yeah, a little bit of Louis Vuitton D-line that they were talking about. They ended the game with 5 sacks, 9 tackles for losses, and 5 pass breakups on the game. That defense really just stepped up when they needed to. I know they were talking about how once they got that first stop, they said they weren't going to score anymore. And it just showed. They came out, they came hard, they came out hitting, and they really wanted it more at the end of the day.
I agree.
Yeah.
I feel like it definitely comes to the fact of, honestly, who came out better and who wanted it more. I mean, you just saw the passion in their eyes and their plays. I mean, everything was just, you know, they wanted it, they got it. And, I mean, I couldn't be more proud to just be with them through that, seeing that, having, you know, if not the same amount of passion for the game. And the whole time, I wasn't really even nervous. Like, it was kind of like they showed us how much they wanted it. And so there was kind of a peace of mind in the fact that, you know, I feel like we were going to win the entire time. Were you ever nervous, Jake, about anything besides the first few plays, of course?
You're always going to be a little bit nervous about something that's completely out of your control.
Right.
And I don't have pads, cleats, a helmet, or
You
any
can't
of
go in
that.
for 'em.
But this is a mentally tough team. I think the last time we were here, we spoke, and it was coming off the LSU loss, and I said to y'all that this is a team that's talented enough to play with anyone. They have
Exactly.
more talent than anyone in the nation. They just had to clean a couple things up, and if things broke their way, they could be in position to get back in the hunt. Well, things broke their way, they cleaned things up, and now the talent is really showing through. This team is mentally tough. They faced adversity. Jackson said early in the season he wanted to see what happened when this team faced adversity.
Right.
They faced it, they've bounced back, and they're hot at the right time. Not only are they hot at the right time, they're the hottest team in college football right now, and we've seen what that defense can do. There are 8 players on that defense possibly who could go to the NFL, maybe more. Offense is getting the job done. We have the guy at quarterback. We have the receivers stepping in and making the plays. There's nothing I think this team can't do, and they're just hitting their stride. We just have to keep it rolling. We can't underestimate anyone because it's the SEC, and in the SEC, it's any given week. But if the Rebs are staying the way they are, you got to feel good.
I completely agree. And, you know, as fans, as students, I think that everyone showed out, new attendance record, stayed the whole entire game. It's pouring down rain at the end of the game. Jake, were you able to rush the field?
I did rush the field,
Good.
and I got to give the fans credit. That was one of the best atmospheres I've ever seen at a sporting event. People have given the Ole Miss fans flack a little bit before because they love the Grove, they love the bars, and why not? Both those things are unbelievable in Oxford. So, of course, they're going to be tempted to leave early, but this was a big game. The crowd knew it was a big game, and the student section especially showed up, got loud, and that was a hell of a home field advantage that made it really tough for Georgia to play. And with the talent that we have, it really helped make the difference, too.
I completely agree. We're just so happy for the Rebels. Congratulations, everybody. When we get back from this break, we'll be talking about the rest of the games from college football. Jake, thank you so much for joining us this show. We will be right back after the break.
Gonna be a hot one out there for move-in weekend, Ole Miss. Good luck this year, Reb.
You did it. You're home. I can't wait for you to discover the true meaning of hotty toddy. It's a cheer that connects us all to the red and blue. It's the moment that begins when you step on campus and continues long after you turn your tassel. I can't wait for you to discover your legacy and make the world a better place. Are you ready?
Ole Miss 18th NCAA tournament appearance.
This is fun, folks, as Baker's peeling it. Little heat check. Snow Collins for three.
Said, I love Madison Scott.
Ole Miss Rebels are having a lot of fun, and you can see why.
NewsWatch is a student-run newscast that goes live every week, Monday through Thursday at 5 o'clock.
NewsWatch is more than just a college team. It is an immersive learning experience. You learn certain skills that help you in your future journalism career.
Rebelwatch is just a cool experience because like I want to do something in the sports world, so just to get the chance to do that on a platform like this, it's just a great opportunity.
We are the only live station in the Oxford-Lafayette area, with Tupelo being the closest. We cover all local news.
Welcome back to Rebel Watch. We are going to step aside from Ole Miss Georgia. Don't worry, we will talk about it again. Let's talk about the few games that happened this past Saturday as well. Bama LSU. College game day was there. They were expecting a good game. Wasn't really that good of a game. Bama pretty much killed it. Tay, how are you feeling about that game?
It was a very good game. Lot on the line there. Playoff implications, obviously. Loser most likely doesn't make the playoffs. But it's very hard for me to always count out Alabama, more specifically Jalen Milroe, in a situation where back is against the wall and you got to get it done. And he essentially killed them on the ground. He only passed for 109 yards on 12 completions, but he ran the ball for 185 yards and scored 4 touchdowns, most notably that big 72-yard run at in the fourth quarter. But it was just insane to watch that Alabama team dominate the way they did on both sides of the ball. They limited LSU's ability to get in the end zone. They got a few field goals going into that second half. But just most notably running as a team for 311 yards. And that takes me back to when they played A&M, and they destroyed them on the ground. And it was just interesting to see like that. It was crazy to watch that LSU defense kind of play similar to how they did against Texas A&M. So I think that's great for Alabama. Obviously bad for LSU, but I'm happy to see
Yeah,
them.
that's totally fine for LSU. I mean, we don't really care about them that much. Walker, how are you feeling about that game?
I was really surprised, actually, just because being there, seeing how much well, really Ole Miss didn't struggle that bad, but they definitely, LSU got the momentum late and took control of that game in overtime. So I really thought LSU was going to be in the game late, even had a chance to win, you know, but no, Bama looked really impressive, really impressed with Jalen Milroe in particular. Had 190 rushing yards, 4 rushing TDs. So, yeah, I think it just shows LSU's done. They're not going to make the college football playoff, but Bama's definitely going to be a team to look out for.
I'd have to agree with
Yeah, I was going to say, just like what Tay was saying, he talked about Jalen Milroe's ground game. He's a very dynamic player, man. We're going to see him a lot on Sundays. He keeps making plays. If it's not open, he'll just scramble, take off with his legs. And you need an improviser now with these defenses that are just run the same things over and over. And now, like what Tay said, if you can get it done on the ground, then, I mean, dynamic quarterback, you're going to need that. So I think we'll be seeing him on Sundays. I think that's a very good player to have on your team.
Yeah, sad case for LSU. Like you said, definitely need an improviser. Once again, Nussmeier throws the ball 42 times, right? If you're constantly throwing the ball, a defense is going to know how to react to that and how to set up for it. He threw 2 picks again. So a lot for LSU to build on, a lot for them to work on going into this offseason. But nonetheless, like y'all said, Alabama's definitely a team I wouldn't write off just yet.
I'd have to agree. And another team I would not lose hope in is the University of Texas. They pretty much dominated Florida. Don't get me wrong. I know Florida, it was pretty much their, third string going on to Austin. And, there are a lot of injuries. But they definitely showed their dominance. They definitely showed they're still here, which is it was kind of weird to watch how amazing they looked when you're thinking, wait, Georgia beat them, but then we just beat Georgia? I don't know. I was thinking about that, but were y'all able to watch that game?
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it, in the Grove before our game, and Texas just flat out dominated them from the beginning. But again, they didn't have their first and second string quarterback, and that really sucks, especially because even their second string is a really good quarterback, freshman DJ Lagway, and he got hurt in the beginning of the Georgia game last week that Florida played in, and it really looked like Florida could have won that game if he wouldn't have gotten hurt. But he is supposed to be back this week versus LSU, and then we play Florida in 2 weeks after the bye week this week. So if DJ Lagway's playing, we got to be careful. Just got to make sure, Jackson Dart said we need to win out. Just because we meet Georgia doesn't mean we're going to win out.
Exactly.
So hopefully we can play and finish strong these last 2 games.
I'd have to agree. Yeah, I was going to say, so we see how Florida played against Texas. It kind of made me feel a little bit better about the game. I don't know, Gainesville, the Swamp, it can be a little intimidating. It can, and not as much as Death Valley, but can be a little bit like that. How are y'all feeling about that Florida and Ole Miss game?
I'm feeling pretty confident about it. This was pretty much the biggest offensive explosion I've seen in a few weeks from this Texas team, and I know that's something that we're going to bring, right? At this point, I'm not quite sure if we are going to establish our run game, so I know we're going to air it out, similar to how Texas did them. So if they react in those same type of ways, we should have no problem. But once again, you can't underestimate anyone. We're in a good place, momentum's high, but at the same time, you got to treat this just as important as any of these other weeks, because you don't want a situation where we're in a close game or anything close to that. So I think we should be okay.
Sorry, how you
Yeah,
feel?
I was going to say, you don't want to go into any game thinking that's just going to be too easy. But again, we did already figure out our offense, scoring 63 against Arkansas 2 weeks ago. Our defense is solidified, only letting 10 to Georgia. And I feel like we're starting to figure things out. Special teams, 5 of 5 last week. So I feel like everything's clicking at the right time. And again, we were a little nervous going into Arkansas. I'm a little nervous going into the Swamp right now. But I think everything's clicking on all the right levels right now, and I don't think there's anything to be worried about, honestly.
Not to mention, Trey Harris coming back this
Woo!
week. That's a big plus. Glad to see him back in action. So I'm with you, bro.
I have to agree. We are excited that we do have a bye week, so we can still celebrate this Georgia win. But the next week we will be back in Florida. When we get back from the short break, we're going to continue to talk about the Georgia Ole Miss game and our favorite funny moments from it. We'll be back.
The dynamic freshman is starting to make his impact.
Dagger with the shot clock down to 1.
That 3-ball drops for Jamin Brakefield. Fagan from the corner with a triple. Burrell for 3, and that's a big response. 3-ball, yes. Miss shooting lights out of the pavilion. And give him one more. Wow, alley-oop. Well, you can't teach that. Well, that should give Ole Miss a boost.
Everyone has a ritual, that small thing that keeps us focused. A habit we never skip to clear our minds and elevate our performance.
But what do you do to keep your head in the game, to drown out the self-doubt and to support your mental health? Because being your best isn't just about taking care of your body.
It's about taking care of your mind and mental health. Discover the resources you need to keep your mind focused and your mental health a priority.
We are rebels. For more than 160 years, we've been accomplishing the impossible, from conducting the world's first lung transplant to helping prove Einstein was right. From preserving the past to saving the future. We are Mississippi's flagship university, a place where passion and learning unite, where friends become family, where small-town charm meets world-class innovation. We are the University of Mississippi. We are Ole Miss.
Welcome back to Rebel Watch. We're going to be talking about some funny moments that happened in the Georgia-Ole Miss game. I feel like there was a lot of them. As a student, this was the most fun game I've ever been to in my 4 years. It's definitely one to remember. And not only did we rush the field, but we had yet another squirrel on the field. And we also used a squirrel as a distraction for the Georgia kicker. And personally, that was my favorite part. Whenever that happened, I was laughing so hard. Here we go. We're about to see it. And there it is. He still made it. But you know what? That made me laugh. And it had the crowd going. So I was really excited about that. Other than that, what were y'all's favorite moments?
Yeah, you said how we stormed the field, but that's not very accurate. We stormed the field twice. I mean, we got fined $100,000 the first time.
I was one of those people, too.
$250,000 the second time. Like, guys, there's 16 seconds left. What are we doing? I mean, they don't know ball. But no, that was funny to watch. Everyone get on the field, and then all the players, all the refs trying to get everyone off the field. It was a whole hassle just to go back on, I don't know.
I didn't even go back up to my seat. I just went to the field.
Everyone was on the sidelines. You look over, all the fans were on the Ole Miss sidelines. It was crazy, man. I have nothing to say for that.
It was pretty crazy. Were y'all able to follow the goalpost to square?
No. I was next to the goalpost. I was holding it for a little bit. Not gonna lie. I was trying to take that, and then I was like, this is too much effort. I'm not gonna take the goalpost to the square.
Well, I watched the people. I was in the middle, so I really was near the goalpost. But I was watching the people try and bring it up to the top of the
I saw that. Yeah.
The shoot section.
Yeah. That could have hurt somebody.
They were gonna throw it over the bar. I don't know what we were going through our minds there. What were we thinking?
I don't either. Tay, do you have any other favorite parts that we had? I'm
gonna defend the people who went out there in 16 seconds because I jumped down there thinking the clock was gonna keep running, and it didn't. But I got a head start, and that was amazing. That's definitely probably gonna be one of my favorite moments when I look back in my 4-year tenure. But it was amazing, interacting with players and the players that did stay there taking pictures. It was just a celebration. It was like everybody was one big family. Like everybody was cheering together, hugs, all of that, the pictures, everything. It was just amazing atmosphere. And just to say, I rushed the field.
Exactly.
In and of itself is amazing.
And that's what I was gonna say is, I called my dad after the game when I was in the Grove. I was just so excited. I had to talk to somebody, and he was like, you are going to remember that moment for the rest of your life, not even in your 4 years, but the rest of your life. People are going to be talking about the 2024 Ole Miss Georgia game when we, quote, had to win out, and we're thinking about, the one game that's going to scare us, which is Georgia, and we did it. And we kind of did it with ease. And so, it's going to be one of those things where we get to say we are students of Ole Miss during that game, which is awesome. Yeah. And, thinking about that in history, how are y'all feeling about next year's Georgia game?
Yeah, I was saying, I know next year it is away, which will make it a lot harder, but I know you said, Tay, this could be the best home game in your tenure. Yeah. I don't know if that could be the case. We saw how good Austin Simmons was looking, and then yesterday, 5-star wide receiver, 16th best player in the country, number 2 wide receiver, best player in the SIP, SIP made, SIP stayed. Caleb Cunningham will be coming here next year, so especially if we go on a playoff run or something, the transfers will keep coming in. We'll keep getting better recruits, and I think Ole Miss football is going to be here to stay. Yeah.
I completely agree, and I don't know if y'all saw this, but ESPN came out with a little interview from Lane Kiffin. He said that he needed Oxford more than we needed him, and I just thought that was about the best quote we could have ever said, because he obviously has the heart of Oxford. Everyone loves him. He is getting us wins. He is, showing everybody in college football that Ole Miss is here to stay. Ole Miss is here to win. And, I thought that was really special. And seeing especially, him talking about his dad and how he thinks his dad's going to be happy about, he's looking up, he's happy. How are y'all feeling about Lane Kiffin and all that?
Yeah, we've talked about this before, the come to the sip, that whole energy that he brings. And there were some rumors about if he was going to stay after this and where he would go, and maybe talk about going to Florida or wherever. But it seems like with this win, this biggest win of his career, some might argue, that he kind of brings this new vibe. And same with the basketball coach. It's this come to the sip. It's this whole, everyone's trying to party in the sip, bring this new energy. And I really think that Lane Kiffin started that and is going to continue to bring that to the SIP, and I'm really happy to see where this team's going to go in the next couple of years.
No, definitely. It's one thing to come in and change a culture or have an atmosphere, but when that translates to actual big-time wins, that makes other people want to join. That's how you get those big recruits from all across the country. So, like we keep saying, like the future is definitely bright.
I definitely have to agree. And, thinking about our last 2 games of the regular season, we are still number 11 ranked for college football playoffs.
Yeah.
I'm thinking we're going to keep getting higher or, keep getting lower in the rankings. How are y'all feeling about Florida and the Egg Bowl? Because honestly, I'm not trying to sound negative, but it would be classic Ole Miss to come to Egg Bowl and make it at least a close game.
Yeah, rivalry games, you never really know. There's so much tension, so much beef going on. You really don't know which way it's going to go. But Mississippi State is 2-8.
Yeah, they're terrible.
They got smoked out of
They're terrible.
I mean, you can't sugarcoat it. They're an awful football team. I'm sorry, but I don't think there's any way they beat us. No, I'm not saying they're bad. Okay, I'm saying they're a bad team. Yeah.
Yes.
But I can't sugarcoat this anymore. I'm sorry, but yeah, I don't think there's a chance they beat us.
Yeah.
We're winning now.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. Like,
we're fine.
This is the best defense in the country. Like,
yes.
Like
defense is crazy.
This is the best defense in the country. They always gonna hold us over. So we're good. We're good. It's just a matter of if we get a home game for the playoffs or not at this point.
I was going to say, so for playoffs, thinking about playoffs, what is one team y'all hope we get to play? If,
I want to, the way that Miami just lost to Georgia Tech, I want to play Miami because I don't think they're a very good team. I think Cam Ward's a good player, but I don't think their team as a whole is very good. A lot of the predictions are saying that we're going to go play in Penn State right now.
Yeah.
That's one of the main ones going around. But I don't know why we'd want to go play in Happy Valley. It's a really, or not Happy Valley, in the Beaver Stadium because it's a very hard place to play.
Yeah. December, it could be snowing.
Could be snowing. Stadium's rocking. It's not very fun to play there. But I want to play Miami here or in Hard Rock. I think that'll be our best chance right now.
Yeah. Penn State or Miami. I think Penn State's fraudulent, 100%. They can't win a big game, but given the conditions, I would rather play somewhere where it's hot than where it's cold. So, judging off that, whichever we get, I think we'll be fine.
I think Indiana. I want to play Indiana.
I was going to say Indiana.
Yes, because I really just don't think they're that good of a football team just because their schedule is so easy. They literally haven't played anyone. They thought Michigan would be a hard game, but don't let anyone lie to you. Michigan's just not good this year. Yeah. They won the championship last year, lost everyone. They're not a good team. So I think we'll learn a lot when Indiana plays Ohio State next weekend. So we'll just have to see what happens. But if we get paired up with Indiana, I will be very happy to play them, especially I went to high school in Indiana. I have a lot of friends that go there who are big fans of them, so I would love to beat them. And we would, so.
Yeah. We would. Well, that is all we have for tonight. Once again, we are so happy for the Rebels. Again, my name is Campbell Holmes. Alongside me is TAYE Coleman, Sawyer Ravino, and Walker Farmer. Thank you so much. Tune in next week. Good night, everybody.